Fumes are running so high, I don't wanna be alive. There's never a right time disguising the outside. What's going on inside, losing track of my own mind.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another week of dialing up the details. Let me go ahead and get a hold of the Emily. Well, she's gonna be driving, so it's gonna be interesting. But this week we're gonna be talking about kind of workplace culture with 911 dispatch, kind of how it's not really conducive to having a good, lengthy career and staying mentally stable. Speaking of mentally stable, like I said, Emily will be joining us here in a second. She's on the road, trying to get on the road. She'll be here when she gets here. Um, and this week we may even sneak peek our next week episode and um, give you guys some homework to do before next week gets going. Because next week should be a pretty good episode. The next week's episode was actually uh, the idea was came up with by Emily. It is going to be surrounding the body camera and things, which the whole documentary is body camera. Anyway, it's on Netflix. It's called The Perfect Neighbor. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. And it's pretty much no real interviews or anything like that. Not like a typical documentary. It is purely all body camera footage. Now, we can't use things directly from Netflix itself, but we can go in and get the body camera from other places to review that body camera footage and kind of talk about it. But it's an interesting thing. There's gonna be several points that we can bring up with that one. Emily, I'm just checking in. Give me a high if you're ready. Okay, Emily's not ready yet. Um, but this week, just kind of the issues that are sometimes present in 911 centers, whether that's a separate agency from, not necessarily a separate agency, but even if they're separated from law enforcement and they don't deal with them every day, just kind of the things that they deal with and why sometimes they have a high turnover and high burnout rate because all of them do. I don't know of a perfect center in the world. It's just I don't think that it's possible. But a lot of complaints do stem from the leadership support, coworkers, and then all of that's just on top of the fact that it's a stressful environment in the first place with the 911 calls, possibly traumatic calls, depending on your call load, if you have help, if you're having to work overtime, or sometimes you're having to work with less people than you're used to. It's just things that we're gonna look at and talk about. I'm trying to bounce ideas off of my own head, and that never works out correctly. Hmm. See, Emily said 2 seconds. It has been more than 2 seconds. But this is how it be
Shut up.
sometimes. That's uh, you act like you can't drive and talk and focus on the drivers in our town at the same time.
There's just a lot of noise getting on using the on ramps right here. You know where I'm talking about, but I'm
Oh
good
yeah.
now.
Okay, awesome.
I
Um
just didn't want it to be a bunch of noise and,
no,
all right,
you're
I'm good.
good. You're good. So you I guess you were listening in while you were here.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I put some notes down in our little scheduler thing that I have in Discord. Let's get to the first one because I know you have some thoughts about this one: the bullying or eating your young tactics in dispatch, uh, with the different employees.
Yes. I'll start with the whole eating your young kind of thing. It is it is always going to be that way when you have older coworkers. I really don't think it matters where.
Oh yeah,
Um, but first responders in general are very bad about it because they get jaded to it and they're like, "Oh, it's not that hard to figure out, blah blah blah." But God forbid you give a 20-year, you know, veteran of whatever, be like, "Hey, we're gonna change this over," and they lose their ever loving shit and can't figure it out. Now, whether it's they can't figure it out or they are refusing because it's a change to their system and they don't like it, are two separate deals. But it's just jaded and honestly, like how we all process stuff. We're not sitting there thinking about every bad thing we've ever heard ever, all day, every day. And so sometimes when new people come in and they're like stressed out and it's like just like not even that busy. Like I've worked busier. What do you mean? Like to get figure it out, just do it. Get it done.
yeah,
Figure it out. There's a line between pushing them and kind of being hard on them, like to teach them to like you've got to like kick baby bird out of the nest on some stuff, and then there's some where you are just some people will. I don't always say intentionally, but people will sabotage trainees and stuff to like let them drown. I don't think it's a good idea because that just teaches that means stress and you can't learn under that stress if that makes sense when you especially when you know somebody's sitting there with you that is supposed to help you and they're not
right,
that adds a whole level of like psyche to a trainee that like you don't need to be inflicting on it. They're already brand new, usually young, or they have never been around this kind of stuff before because a lot of people it's half and half pretty split on people either grew up with the whole first responder family or they don't even know anybody that's a cop.
right, yeah.
And
Especially, I
so
would say, especially for dispatchers, that seems like the
they're
catalyst
hearing
for a lot
stuff
of
and
people.
thinking about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and the way I've always been taught and always been told from like family members and things. I mean, it happens in every career, but uh, my dad had always told me, when he was training somebody new, when he was managing, he liked to train them so that they're actually a help to what he's doing. And not only that, he was like proud that he
Yes.
trained them if they got better and even surpassed him. And I think people don't have that mentality enough. Like, you should be proud that you train them if they continue to gain knowledge and surpass you in what you're doing. I mean, is it hard to do? Sure. I mean, because everybody's
Yes.
envious, but uh, I mean, I take it in that like we need to have more of that mentality of like, I want to train you the best I possibly can because you're going to be the one eventually helping me or supervising me or whatever.
Or and this is what I would explain to trainees to apply, and you don't think this way because it's yourself upset thinking this way, but these people, whether I want to admit it or not, and whether they want to admit it or not, these people are my friends to some extent. And I want to be able to know that I will teach you how to keep my friends safe, let alone our civilians and stuff too, because, our loved ones and our friends from growing up and whatever live here. But
Hmm.
these officers and these firemen, those are my friends. Some of them I've known since birth. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's not always the case depending on where you are, but still, like, even if they're not your friends, those are your work friends. I want you to know what you're doing to help keep our people safe,
Hmm.
both the responders and the civilians. You know what I mean? Um, But and it was another thing we were talking about, or people were talking about in the office today, was that talking about pay and what have you, and they're like,
Oh yeah.
I've worked here for this amount of time, and I'm capped out already, and rookies are coming in and they're only making $10,000 a year less than I am. And that's just a whole societal, I don't know, some kind of ingrained thing of some people don't, some people cannot respect people that didn't have to struggle as hard as they did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, well, back in my day, it's literally that.
Yeah.
That's what all that goes back
And
to.
it's hard for me to complain too much. Like, I mean, we all always complain about our pay, and I think that's, again, whatever career you're in, you're going to complain about your pay. But
Yep.
coming off of the ambulance at $9.23 an hour, I feel like I
Yeah,
can't ever complain anymore. Like I've got it made.
yeah, no kidding. And I mean, I get paid relatively the same as I did for a city. There's, with travelers and stuff, over 500,000 people and getting
Hmm.
run ragged, versus I sit here and get to color on my iPad and listen to my podcast or whatever, and kick back half the time.
Yeah.
And I work 4 days a week. Like, boo-hoo, poor me. I mean, there's also levels to it. And again, that's another thing of people, if they've never worked anywhere else, or they haven't worked anywhere else in a long time, they forget about that stuff too. Because sometimes I will be so annoyed, and I'll be on one. I'm like, you know what? I'm not in Arkansas. You know what? I'm gonna take what I got for right now and just leave it alone. So I mean, but
Right.
it is hard to do that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just not old enough to hit them back in my day.
Yeah. Well,
But that's a problem for everybody, and that's something that our generation, and especially the ones younger than us, are hopefully starting to try to like break off from. I
hmm
feel like, because there's no reason for us
I
to suffer for no reason. You know what I mean?
yeah, I can see that, but also, working code health inspections, and I've seen it a few times here. Some of the younger people are sometimes worse about like uh, money shaming, salary shaming. I don't know what would be the proper term for that. But it's like, oh, you don't make that much money. I'm on social media and I make thousands of dollars because I have 15 million followers.
Well, those aren't real people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, like, their brains are altered different, completely altered. If they are to that level of success on the internet or something, they are not on the same planet as the rest of us anymore. That's
Right.
like saying, my coworker that's 40 something and Beyonce should act the same about money. No, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are we going 65 in the left lane of the interstate? You're gonna
Mm.
get me ran into the back
Well,
of
when I was
Gig Express.
when I was traveling back from Tyler today, I ended up taking a toll road because I have a toll tag
Yeah,
and
I know what
stuff
you're talking
now.
about.
And
Yep.
it's a minimum speed of 65. In other words, if you're
Yes.
not driving at least that speed, you will get pulled over, which is
Yep.
awesome.
I mean, you're gonna cause a wreck. Like, I will drive like an idiot to get around you, and I don't care because you're gonna get me ran into the back of,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna pull over and let all, like, right now I'm pulling over and letting all these people, because as soon as I go around him because I'm in a sports car, that's when he starts to speed up. That's fine. Go ahead.
Right.
I'm gonna sit over here behind this other 18 wheeler and go 70 miles an hour, and you just go on about your business. Like, just get away from me. Anyways.
Speaking
But
of
yeah.
your experiences and stuff from Arkansas or other agencies, that's another thing I wanted to hit on is workplaces. I mean, more especially like supervisors and things like that that don't realize that you have certifications and knowledge that could help out and don't let you use that or kind of tell you to shut up or whatever. I mean, why is it that we don't use all of the materials at our disposal to help us out? And I'm speaking from like a supervisor point of view. Like, why would
Well,
you not want to use everything available to you?
I mean, you can look at this multiple ways. I will try to say it the nicest way I can first, and then we're gonna go from there.
Okay.
Is I'm not a supervisor. my opinion only matters so much. At the end of the day, I work in a chain of command system that I voluntarily work for. And at the end of the day, my opinion is not end all be all. And there are people that know some stuff better than me and have more experience or almost as much experience as I've been alive. You know, why
Right.
would, if I was them, I can understand, well, why would I listen to this girl, the woman? I'm a grown woman, but you know what I mean? Some of them are old enough to be my dad, or not, some of them are older than my dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
And especially like I'm their kid's age or younger than their kid or something, why would they? I can understand how the brain is not always going to take that into consideration of, oh, this is an actual functioning adult that knows different things.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is. That's how brains work. Now, we also work a job where most of the people that do it are some sort of type A to whatever degree. And then a good chunk of those people also are very they think very highly of themselves, which you have to if you're making split moment decisions and judgments and you know
Yeah. There's a
arresting people or
certain level
like
of self confidence.
you do, and some people that gets overinflated.
Mm-hmm.
We all have to have some level of self confidence to do what we do. You can't sit there and second guess yourself. You know what I mean? And so with that, it still goes back to the why would I listen to you? Why would I listen to you? You're my subordinate. Why do I need to listen to you?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, yes, but at the same time, I mean, again, like you
I'm
said,
not
there's
saying it's the
different.
right thing to do,
Yeah, I know you're saying there's
but
different
that's
types
how
of
it
type
is.
A, but to me, also, I would think like if there's something that I haven't had experience in, I would like to learn that and get experience in it. Um,
Yes. Some people do not care about some people do cannot have any humility to be like, "Hey, can you teach me how to do XYZ? Can you explain ABC 1 2 3? I've never
mhm,
heard of that. Hey, you did this before. What do you think?" Because not everybody is meant to be a leader. Good leaders do that kind of thing. Do you have to agree with anything I tell you? Absolutely not, and you're not going to agree with everything I say. That's just not how it's going to work. Does my boss need to listen to me and nobody else? No, but a good leader will at least take stuff into consideration. Now, it doesn't need to be a you know, a what do they call it? It doesn't need to be a council meeting for every decision that's made,
right.
because also a good leader should be able to know what know their people and stuff like that. But that goes back to being a good leader.
Well, and even just to me asking the question, "What do you think about this?" It also goes into morale. It goes into your people feeling like you're at least feeling like you're
And
actually listening. You know.
that goes to mutual respect, which goes to somebody being a good leader and not an egotistical asshole. Is what I'm getting at. I was just trying not to say it that
Well,
way.
I
It just is what
understand.
it is. I mean, it annoys the hell out of me. It annoys you, but I mean, I don't know what you expect, genuinely.
Yeah. Well, and
Because especially in a place that people are not all now, I'm not saying anything about anybody I work with. I'm just saying that sometimes places, people get promoted by means other than who is best for the spot. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Or
Well, but
some people go through things and they may be good in this spot over here, but then you bring them over here and it doesn't work the same, and just not
doesn't
how this works.
translate. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. You can't take somebody from the fire department and go make them work at the library and expect them to work right. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes that's what it is too. And then again, good leadership and everything like that. Good leadership also goes top down.
Right. Yeah.
It always is a top down problem,
How many?
because I have worked under multiple different bosses and chiefs and what have you. When you have a chief or a captain or whoever that actually gives a shit, it makes you feel a little bit better because you can be like, I could send him an email, da 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 da. If you have a boss or a chief or captain or whoever that you don't think cares, then you're like, I'm just screaming into the void, and what is the point? And then your morale dips off
Mm-hmm.
because then you just don't feel included. Because we are also type A people, and we want to at least have our opinions heard most of the time, and this is that, and we all think we have the right way to do things. Um, and then there's not strict enough, not even strict, but there's not enough policies on stuff and X, Y, and Z. So then stuff gets left open to interpretation,
Right.
and this person could tell you this one day and this the next day, and then the next week you're like, this person and that person are like, what the fuck just happened? What I got told to do this, well, I got told to do it this way,
Right.
which is again
Well,
good leadership.
it's yeah. Well, we're gonna be on this rant forever, but I think that also goes into acknowledgement is always nice to have, no matter what you're doing. Even a
Yes,
simple "Hey, that was a good job you did on that call." That's all it has to be.
yes,
That's literally all it has to be. "Hey, yeah, I heard that call. You did a pretty good job on that. Cool, thanks.
yep.
Appreciate it. Makes me feel good." Instead, a lot of times it's just it. It's one of those things. Well, I mean, that's your job. I mean, what do you want me to do? Say good job on doing your job? Yes, actually, yeah. I just want you to say, "Hey, good job. Thanks for showing up."
Yes,
Like,
and yes, that not everybody needs that. Yes, they do. It's just that we'll say, for example, if I work in dispatch and my only supervisor technically your service, thanks for this, thanks for that. Hey, here's free Chick-fil-A. Hey, here's free coffee. Hey, da 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 da. You get thanked all the time. People don't even know that we're real people. You know
yeah,
how many times
yeah.
I've told people, "Oh yeah, I do
Oh,
911," and they're like, "Oh my god, people actually like that's a real thing. I never even thought that was thought
I
about that being a job." I'm like, "Uh-huh."
speaking of, I've got to get this out of my brain before it leaves because you brought that up. I'm going to be adding it to the schedule. AI in dispatch.
I'm not even going to start on that right now.
Rapid SOS is already unveiling and testing a tool for AI dispatch. We'll get into that at some other point. But yes, it's
A
happening.
tool
It's happening. Oh, well,
yeah, well,
they call it a tool, but it
I
it
don't
it's literally they're working on it to
I don't
where it'll
care.
literally take calls.
Look, and
But
let me listen, let me tell you. Do you know how much that's going to cost? Do you know how much money most of our governmental agencies, municipalities do not have? I'm not worried about it anytime soon. And
right.
if that happens, I'll go work at the library. That's fine.
Mhm.
Whatever. I'll go get an accounting thing on Coursera and go work at City Hall. Anyways, uh,
Yes. But, yeah, I mean, just
so
the acknowledgement is
yeah,
nice, and then acknowledgement, and then also not
and it's not that I'm jealous. It is not that I'm jealous that other people get attention. That is not the point I'm making. It's just the fact of, hey, uh, you know,
well, it's not jealousy, it's just everybody likes to be acknowledged every once in a while. Everybody. I mean, that's just how it is. If
well,
if I
and that's the
always
thing.
see my wife and I'm never acknowledged by my wife, am I gonna be upset? Yes, I would be. Like,
Well, even like say like at our job at one time, and I don't know if they still do it. I doubt, but we got QA'd every month, right?
uh-huh.
And even just having a call, like a QA call that was a nothing burger, a
Mhm.
QA call where I had 100 and the senior dispatcher that was doing mine was like, "Good job on this, blah blah blah. Good job on this call," and send it to me in a spreadsheet for me to sign, just so it was on file that I got QA'd. That alone is enough for me. I don't need much more than that. I don't.
Mhm.
And because also our coworkers our coworkers, not our leadership, our coworkers are pretty good about coming back and telling us like, "Hey, thank you for blah blah blah." Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
for
Yeah, I got
sure.
it. Hey, thank you for the help with that.
Well,
I'm not
onto
I don't need more than that. So, whatever.
Well, along with being acknowledged, I think something that we miss a lot, and I appreciated. There was a shift that let me in on it the other night, um, and I really appreciated it. The involvement in training would be nice as well because there was a night shift the other night that was doing like room clearing or like active shooter situation type training, and just not I'm not going to say hardcore training, but they were kind of going through the motions and
Yes.
like using the training weapons and going into rooms and clearing the room and
Yep.
all that. And we were just talking and everything, and I had mentioned, hey, on a dispatch side of things, would you rather me be putting everything out over the radio even if you have a chance and I'm not hearing it, or would you rather blah 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 blah? And so we got into all the details of, if we have enough people, try and have someone monitor the radio. If we don't, hopefully they hear it, but in an active shooting situation there's a whole bunch of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
running
Right.
and
Yep.
screaming and things like that, and they may not hear it anyway. And just even the good conversation and being involved and mentioning some things they don't think about and them mentioning things that we don't think about, and just having the camaraderie and the acknowledgement that we have different jobs,
Yep.
is nice.
Which is again, coworkers are fine.
Yeah.
Leadership is a different conversation, and that's most jobs anyways. But and then we're technically interdepartmental. Anytime we're dealing with officers or firemen or EMS, we are separate. My check comes from the city, but it may say that I work under the police department, but at the same time, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not in your chain of command other than this person and then boss man, right?
Mhm.
We don't operate the same. I don't operate like firemen. I don't operate like the officers.
It's
I don't operate like a medic because that's just not how it works.
do you think that may be part of the reason why it's so much easier to pretty much lump us under glorified secretaries
No,
than what we are?
I think that is a center or city or county or whatever. I think that is very specific to where you work, even down to the officers and stuff, because I mean, I have had officers, that they're like, we could not function without y'all and XYZ and blah blah blah. And I have great respect for our dispatchers and everything like that. And y'all that we can't be us without you and da 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 da. Have I had officers be like, what the fuck is your problem? What, you're just in here on the computer. Okay, come sit down.
Mhm.
Just like you don't see me out on the street. Don't come in here with that.
Mm. Well, that's
Because
like our
if I'm just in here on the computer, then you're just out there making money for the city, writing tickets and not doing anything else. Do we want to play that? No, because that's fucked up.
mhm.
But that is very specific to where you work, even down to the officer. And I've only ever heard like two officers out of the hundreds I've worked with. I've heard like two or three people ever say that were bold enough at least to say it in front of some dispatchers.
Well, I think maybe I have a skewed view because I mean, and this is part of the reason why I got off of social media for years. Um, a lot of comments lately on like dispatcher videos and stuff because I'm part of the algorithm now because I'm posting my own stuff, and a lot of stuff from other people end up popping up, and I read comments and whatnot, and a lot of officers and firefighters and things basically basically butthurt about like first respond or 911 dispatchers in some states and areas being considered first responders, and being butthurt about it and saying that they don't have the same amount of trauma and blah 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 blah
That's
blah blah
that's
blah.
just that's the same thing we talked about eating your young. That's the same mentality. And also, how many times have you watched a video and agreed with it, and then left a paragraph of a comment about how much you agree with the video? You gotta remember the internet's not real. You know what I mean?
Well,
Seriously.
I mean that's a good way to put it. I've never heard it put like that. When's the last time you put a paragraph of how much you liked a video? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
And then also, our people, a bunch of salty ass old men with three ex-wives and a drinking problem. Please mind your damn business and don't worry about doing.
Yes,
You know,
Robot Emily. I heard all of it. I understood all of it, but you got a little roboty there.
Okay. Is it better now?
Much better.
Okay. I'm about to hit the river, so it might do the thing. But you know what I mean? Like again, internet's not real.
Right. Well, and I
It's
think,
not.
and that's a whole, that could be a separate video, and the fact that I think that may be a lot of problem with society and the way people are so brave nowadays, anyways, because it's all done behind a keyboard instead of
Yeah.
face to face,
And
actual conversation, interaction.
I understand for children that are now young adults that have grown up with this stuff, even us to an extent, but especially like me, like my brother's age that has
Hmm.
grown up with stuff like this, you don't realize that this isn't like you're not supposed to be taking this seriously. Like it is only so far deep, but for grown adults, like grown folk, like if you older than me and you getting mad about a just block them. Don't read it. It's not real. Look what'll happen just with all the Twitter stuff like the last couple of days. Half of
Hmm.
those accounts that are this, that, or the third aren't even American people that are over here. Yeah, this and yeah, that, and blah, 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 blah. What?
Yeah.
Again, it's the internet. It's not real. Now, is there bad stuff that happens on the internet and like, especially people getting harassed and whatever? Yeah, sure. Of
Hmm.
course. And there is the line between okay, this is actually bad, and the Tyler the Creator tweet from like 15 years ago. Just walk away from the screen. Just close your eyes.
Right.
Whatever. We're getting in the weeds on that one, but who cares? Again, when's the last time you left a paragraph about how much you liked the video and you thought that the person in the video was a nice looking person and they're whatever?
Right.
People don't do that. It's because those people also either one are so delusional that they think the internet is real, or they're like I'm going to take their like subconscious brain is like I'm going to take out my frustrations on this random person that I won't ever have to see in real life because the
Right.
internet's not real.
Well, and I also kind of equate it to we know people like this. Like you'll know it when I say it. But I think sometimes people remember the days of like Pain Olympics and gore sites,
Yep.
and they can look at it on a screen, but they don't know what it feels like to actually see it. Like
Yeah.
it's a different kind of thing. And some people are, oh no, I want to see it, I want to see it. And then it's like, no, you actually
No.
don't, because for some reason the disconnect of the screen, and then when you see it in real life, you realize this is I'm gonna be super blunt here. This is a soulless meat sack, and I don't know how to process this in my brain. You know,
Yep.
it's different when it's behind a
I
screen
was like,
versus,
it
you know.
is. And it is. And then I know people from like my family and my parents' friends growing up that they think that they will watch that kind of stuff and they're like, they think it's funny. That's not a normal response either, you fucking freak. Go see a therapist. If
Yeah,
you're laughing at Art the Clown, you may also have a problem.
right.
That's not a
Oh,
normal response.
that's something I never got. Like I enjoy my favorite type of scary or horror movies is old school, like Halloween, Michael Myers, the dude that walks faster than you run, or something that just actually just creeps you out a lot versus the blood and gore and body parts everywhere. Like I never understood that.
I miss the 2010s scary movies
Mhm.
type of that level of like horror and whatnot is about as much as I can handle. Final Destination, I saw them get get air fried in those tanning beds. No, thank you. Nope.
Yeah. Well, I think
And I cannot
everybody's was the log
until
truck.
oh that yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
But the
Sorry, I know you're
same
driving.
I'm almost done. The like high HD 4K 8K gore ASMR. Nah, no, you're not normal. I hate to break it to you, which it's okay to not be normal. I'm not. I have like 4 medicine bottles in my bag right now. I get it. Um, but don't be like, pussy, you can't deal with it. No, I don't want to look at that. I've seen the shit in real life. I've seen brain matter. I don't need to see it. Like
Mhm.
while I'm trying to, eat my chicken crispitos and play Sudoku. I don't need to be watching it right now. Thank you though. Like,
Right.
but whatever. People react to that kind of stuff differently. Again, and we talk about this when I go through when I do the peer support stuff and whatnot.
Mhm.
Some people need the Disney version And some people want the Spark Notes, and some people want the full details. Most people only need the Disney version.
Right.
I like the Disney version with some Spark Notes on some stuff, but I do not need to know which vertebrae was broken on this person or the color of their shit. That my, when you work with when you live with nurses, they just overshare that kind of. I don't need to know.
Right.
I do
Right.
not need to know. I don't want to hear about pus or this or blood. I got it. No, thank you. But yeah, sure. Tell me what happened. But yeah, I don't need the special effects. Whatever.
Right.
Just like I've talked to like my mom will tell me stuff like that. I'm like, I don't need to hear that. If I start talking about stuff with kids and get too into detail, she's like, oh, I can't hear that. Everybody's line is different, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But just try to be respectful, especially when you're dealing with other first responders or healthcare people. We don't really touch on healthcare too much, but when you're dealing with other first responders or healthcare people, be mindful of what you're talking about because there have been times where I've been sitting there at work and people are talking about something and I have to feel like I have to get up and walk out because I'm like, oh my God, can y'all stop joking about this? I took that call last night and I'm still I'm hearing it. Can you shut up?
Mhm.
Or, whatever. I've talked about something and made somebody else upset because they were thinking about something that happened 6 years ago. Be mindful, be respectful of each other, and that includes on the internet. Um, especially with, people not being too fond of police officers will ever. Um, Shit talking on your dispatchers doesn't do anything but kind of make you look like an asshole, and then people are just going to assume that we are bumps on a log and don't do anything either.
Right.
We don't need it. That's the whole. Not that I'm saying back the blue and protect the good old boy shit, but we don't need infighting without cause. You know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, let's see. Where are we? We went off there for a second.
We
That pretty
usually
much,
do.
yeah, that's pretty much the end of my notes. We're at 40 minutes. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing next week. I have watched the documentary like you asked me to.
Okay.
I need to save somebody. I need to actually find the body cam videos on the YouTubes and save them and everything for next week. I also am going to get YouTube Premium so we won't have to deal with ads.
I was gonna say I have it if needed, but yeah, streaming from my end is probably not the best idea. So
Right. So it's called A Perfect Neighbor, right? Or the Perfect Neighbor, The Perfect Neighbor.
the perfect neighbor, yeah, because that's what she says to the police that she's always the perfect neighbor.
Right.
So
And there's
yeah,
I don't know if I put any notes on our thing in here, but I had watched I had watched it in dispatch kind of off in the background, so I may need to go back and watch it again, but I have different points of view and things that I feel like we could bring. I mean, it's definitely an interesting thing, and the bad part is watching it, I could see some of our regular callers being like that, or one day just go too far.
get more into that when we get to it, but yeah, um, yeah,
Yeah. So guys, if you haven't
no,
seen it, it's on
yeah.
Netflix. Go check it out. It's a full documentary of pretty much just body cam footage of this incident and what happened and leading up to and after and all of that.
There are also YouTubers that have covered parts of it. The one I watch is Boze, Boze. She covered a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
it. There's other people that have covered it on YouTube. If you don't feel like giving Netflix your shmoney, I don't blame you. I don't pay for it, so whatever.
Mhm.
But as long as you get the spark notes of it, if you're wanting to listen along and let us yap about it to you, then as long as you have an idea of what's going on, then you'll understand what we're talking about. But yeah.
Right. And I also I think I did put this note on that one. When I was first looking it up and kind of seeing if there's a different place I could stream it or blah blah blah. Um the Google reviews for that documentary are insane. I didn't know you could do Google reviews on TV shows and stuff like that, but
Yes.
yes, there's yeah. It's about half 1 star, half 5
You
stars,
also
so
said bonus homework, the movie Code 3 on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yes, that was for this one. I've watched it a total of 3 or 4 times now. I freaked my wife out when we watched it at home because of the parts I was crying at, and she thought I wasn't breathing properly because I was ugly crying. Definitely a good watch. It I'm gonna say it's the most accurate as far as, like, workplace culture and everything. I
Mm,
know people online are saying, "Oh, it's not accurate because they didn't do this or that or this or that." I understand it's not gonna be 110% accurate, like, they're not gonna know exactly how to put in IVs and things, or there's also a cinematic aspect to it when it's where it's not gonna be for time and for content and things like that, it's not gonna be exactly like it is, but it does a very good job of explaining, like, working on an ambulance and the trauma you deal with plus the pay. I mean, within the first scene, they take someone to the ER, and then as they're walking out, it's going through every person's salary, and it's real average salaries across the US of, like, the surgeon
yeah.
makes 300,000, the doctor makes, 200,000, the critical care nurse makes 98, the nurse makes 80, and it goes all the way down, and one of the last ones is the janitor. The janitor makes 47,000 a year on average. And as they walk out, it shows the paramedics. Paramedics average 42,000 a year.
Yep.
Yeah, insane, but really
Yep.
good movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
Not yet, no. Yes, I like how they're touching on stuff like that lately. Like my mom is all about the show The Pit, and how it's like each episode is like an hour in the ER, and it's like inflated and ridiculous, but it's still of
Mhm.
like, and it's stuff that we can't that I can relate to, even though I don't work in the ER. Of like, it just the shit does not stop sometimes, and like the crazy
Right.
stuff you'll experience, and sometimes you're sitting down eating and talking with your friends, and then just blam, and everything goes sideways. Yeah, I get it.
It
Um,
does a really
so
good job of showing burnout. I will say the doctor in the show is played by Rob Riggle. Great actor, by the way, hilarious.
oh, good.
But he just plays like an absolute asshat of a doctor, like just absolutely rude to the paramedics, the nurses around him, everybody, just always chipping his shoulder, always rude. And towards the end of the movie, it goes into like the scene that I ugly cry at every single time. And it's basically the paramedic finally snapping and like F this, F that. And he's explaining like how a lot of people that are first responders get jaded because the person that should have died at least 50 times now just keeps on surviving. And
Yep,
the really nice old lady that this is the first time she's ever had a health complication ends up coding in the back of
yep.
the ambulance and dying.
Or the, like, baby just is just SIDS or what yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's
yeah,
stuff like that, and he's explaining all that, and then it also one of the scenes as he's saying "f this, f that," "f everything," it slow rolls by like the ER, and it's like a time lapse back to 2020, and it shows when the doctor like snapped. He's just 1,000-mile stare with the rings around his nose and mouth from the COVID mask and
mhm,
the gown on halfway on and just holding a cup of coffee, staring blankly into the abyss. And like that's the moment he snapped, and that's the reason why he's such an asshat now because he dealt with that and nobody appreciated him and like he didn't know how to process it. So from that point on is the moment like he just did not care anymore.
yep.
So
And with that and, like, when we deal with it too, you have to be the one to take care of yourself. It's the same if you would tell somebody that we would deal with, whether on the ambulance or on the phone, I can't fix it for you, and nobody else can fix it for you. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta take care of yourself at the end of the day. And I'm not saying you have to work out 7 days a week and eat keto, blah, 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 but, like, if you are having those, like, 1,000-mile stares and, like, nothing you're not doing your hobbies anymore and your house is messy and stuff like that, it may be time to take like an extra vacation day, give yourself a long weekend, and maybe go talk to somebody.
Right.
Just for anybody that needs to hear that, there's nothing wrong with doing it. It is okay. You don't need to be embarrassed. Nobody has to know other than you and that doctor, I promise you, has heard worse, and so have you. So
Right. I will
people got to
say
take
if
care of
you are a
themselves.
first responder, there I've been finding some good resources, surprisingly on TikTok, um, of like there's even like people or counselors or therapists that are specialized in first responder things, right? They
Yes, there
specialize
is.
in that type of trauma because sometimes, let me tell you, if you're a first responder, there are times when you will have it
I
doesn't
have
happen
traumatized a
often.
therapist before.
Yeah, you can traumatize
I
your therapist
traumatized a
and they
therapist. Yeah.
can not call you back and they can drop you as a patient and because they just aren't prepared for it. It
Yep.
happens.
Um, there is one that I will note. I've been trained by and worked with these people. Is that peer support couple? It's Kathy and Javier Bustos is their name. They are on Facebook and all the things. If you need resources or whatever, contact them. Kathy is a licensed clinical social worker. Javier is ex-military and police. They are both police officers in the Austin area. Um, I think they I think Miss Kathy is retired now, but if you need resources or you just want to ask questions, their Facebook is public and available. Contact them for like any kind of questions that you have. They know people all around the world. Those people they have went and done peer support at, like after the January 6th um insurgent, however you want to call
Mhm.
that. The thing where the people went to the Capitol of the United States and all that
Right.
and crazy stuff happened.
Mhm.
They went and did peer support there as well as they work in Texas. They
Dang.
go all over. They know people all over the world. If you have questions or if you need that or whatever, they are available, public. Contact them. And then yeah, as well as look into what your agency may have if you are a first responder or something like that. The IAFF for firefighters has stuff. But yeah, just look around. There should be peer support at your work. I understand not everybody trusts their peer support people. I get it. But usually there's a poster in a locker room somewhere that has some kind of phone number, or you know, HR may have free. After COVID, a lot of places do offer some kind of free counseling for a couple sessions at least. So
Right.
just look
Well,
into that.
in the age of online as well, you can things like BetterHelp online, not a sponsor by the way. I wish you were. Please do. Anyway, BetterHelp is a thing that like almost every YouTuber has an ad for now, but it's an online service and you can connect with pretty much anyone around the country that specializes to what you're needing to deal with. So you're not
And
limited
be
to
my
your locale anymore.
No, but just be mindful of those as well. That not all of those people are MDs or therapists or counselors. They are not all online people you can talk to are created equal. Just keep that in mind. Not that it's a bad thing, but that just some people have had bad experiences because they think they're talking to a medically trained professional and they're talking to somebody that has an associate's degree or something like that,
Here's
or
some
has
really
just
bad advice. Just pull up Chat GPT and
do not use AI for that kind of stuff. It is literally killing the planet. I'd rather you just, you know what? You know what? If you're going to use Chat GPT, take $5, go to your nearest 7-Eleven or Easy Mart and pay a crackhead to listen to you. Okay. At that point,
True,
no.
true,
At least it'll be a
true.
real person.
Awesome.
No, but
Well, I imagine you're home now. We're at
I am.
51 minutes. I will call it. I will press the ending and see you guys next week. Remember, next week we're going over The Perfect Neighbor and we'll bring up some body camera on YouTube.